Hi everyone, Nina here.
Hi, Kathy from the Daily Marker.
This is our special guest this week.
Yeah, I'm in Arizona and I'm just so excited to come to Waffle Flower and this new release. I can't wait for you all to see it. Totally my favorite, of course. Can I hold it up?
Yes.
So this is just the stamp set?
Yes. This is the Bouquet Builder 5 stamp set that's coming out in August.
Oh my gosh, it's so gorgeous. I just want to kiss it. So beautiful.
Yeah, this is the set that Kathy will show us her coloring tips on today.
Am I going to talk some and then...
You can.
Yeah, okay. So I like to travel a lot. And I always pack some Tombow watercolor markers with me. So I thought I would use those today. And I came to Arizona on a spontaneous trip to see my 93-year-old aunt. Hence 93-year-old colored nail polish. It's her nail polish. So I just got these while I was here because I brought a different set of watercolors. I will never ever not bring these again. So I just wanted to say that. So I want to show you what I call easy watercoloring, because I know a lot of people worry about watercoloring, and when I do my road trips I show this method and the light bulb goes off a lot of times. So I love the stamp set, and you can stamp this and pop it on top or use it as like a tool, what colors you want to use. I really should have stamped the small one here, and then I could pop it anywhere here. Also, if you make a mistake or there's an area you don't like, you can pop one of these wonderful little elements, or just to give you more dimension. Lots of options. So I'm not a big one that talks about what paper I'm using, all that jazz, but since this is for Waffle Flower, we're using this 140 pound. The weight of the paper is more important than anything. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to start on this flower just to show you quick and easy watercoloring. I love this mat because it holds things in place. That's very important, especially if you do videos and stuff. So I'm just going to dive right in. So when I pick colors, I don't think too much about what I'm doing. I just grab a color. So since I'm at my 93-year-old aunt's house, I just cut off a water bottle to use as my water jug here. I should have cut it off shorter. I like it when I don't have to lift the brush really high to get my water. So actually, I'm just going to pour a little bit in this mat here. I'm kind of like a lazy crafter. So there's two different ways. You can, so I just grab this color. I'm drawing like an easy C or L shape, whatever letter you think that might be. Now I'm going to pick up the water from my brush, and I'm going to start in the white area here, and I want to make sure that I get water all the way to the line, and then I'm going to bump into my color. So I always have a little rag nearby. Now I'm going to bump up into this color. Now sometimes you might get a line, and if that's happened to you, you know what I mean, and we'll talk about that later. So I'm bumping up into this color, and I'm moving the color down, but I want to keep that a white area. So I'm going to take the color off my brush, wet my brush, get all the color off, and then go back into this area from the white clean area and just kind of bumping that color back into my line of color. That way I have a gradient look. I haven't washed the whole petal with one color. And then I keep removing color from my petal. That's the most important thing, I believe. So I just rinsed my brush again, and I'm starting on this line, and I'm pushing that water back into this area and removing that color. So if you look close, there's a slight line.
I think we can zoom in a little.
Okay.
If you want.
So we're going to zoom in a little bit. There's a very subtle line there. So that's one of the great things about this craft mat is you can just scribble anywhere. You can scribble in here, you can scribble here. I do all things. So I just put some color on my palette. I can use either one here. I'm going to use this. So I'm picking up the color on my brush, and I'm putting it where that line is. That line of color, and it's already gone away. So now I'm going to remove the color off my brush, dry my brush off, and then just give a little sweep just to make sure I don't end up with the line. So I always like to add one more color. So I'm going to grab this darker purple and just pick up a little bit of this color and just add it
to the edge.
To the edge in a small area. Thank you, Nina. I need an interpreter when I do.
Yeah.
So what's a really fun color? Let's add. This is an experimental flower, so let's. I love having really dark colors. So
that's beautiful. It's beautiful already.
So this isn't a color most people would add. So if we add that, now I'm taking that color off my brush because I don't want to wash it all blue, and then I'm just going to move this around just a little bit towards the center. Now if you get your petal too wet, the color's not going to move. But you're just getting like more interest on that petal. Does that look more interesting now?
Mm-hmm. He has depths and interests too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so now we're going to move on to this.
Okay. Did you see just splattered water?
That's okay.
Okay.
We'll let that dry.
Well, it can be the splatter for the whole piece.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't worry about little things like that, but you do need to be careful.
Okay.
So, do you want to pick a color to start with?
For me?
Nina's going to pick a color. She's sitting right here. You can't see her on camera.
You can't see me.
Okay. Yeah, you can see her. Like, duh. Okay.
Yeah.
What color do you want to pick? Don't think about it. Pick a color.
I want this hot pink.
Okay. She's picking hot pink. Okay. So, I'm going to start with the center flower. And like, one of my tips when I travel is I talk about not paying attention to where the light is coming from. That's too confusing. It frustrates people. It frustrates me. And then crafting becomes stressful. So don't pay attention where the light comes from. You just want a light area and a dark area, and it looks good. If you're a major artist, then you might want to pay attention, but most of us are crafters. We don't need to pay attention.
That's kind of where it stopped me from coloring. Is like I can't figure out the light.
Right. That's a really good point. It stops you. It's frustrating, so then you don't do it anymore. So I have a light spot and a dark spot, and then we're going to blend it. And I like to call the white spot a sweet spot. We always want to have a sweet spot on each petal, but I don't care where it is.
Okay.
So now that I've started in the white area, and you want to take that water all the way to the line, and then you pick up the color, bump into the color, and start drawing it further into the petal. But you still want to keep a little piece of it white or lighter. So now that the color's moved here, I'm going to rinse that brush, take the water off because I don't want to overly saturate this, and then just smooth out this last line here.
To remove the edges?
Yeah. Just to make sure it's all, so we don't get like a water spot.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that line that we had here. So, but let's do the purple. You always want to add one more color for interest.
Okay.
So I'm going to start where that line is, and then pick up some more of that color here, and just the darker colors you want to use less.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to rinse my brush, take the water off, and then start from the light area and then just push into this area. And if you're new to watercoloring, you just need to experiment how wet to have your brush, and just play around. Sometimes I think and you know, I hope no one strikes me down for saying this, but I think people watch too many videos sometimes, and then this person's saying this and that person's saying that. 20 people are saying different things, and then you're like, oh my God, what do I do? Who do I listen to? And you just need to sit down and play and put on some music, have a glass of wine or a special drink or water, seltzer water with lemon.
Don't stress.
Yes.
Relax.
Coloring's supposed to be fun. Bring back the coloring. So, of course, I'm so happy that Nina comes out with these gorgeous stamps.
Wow. Thank you for the inspiration.
Oh, thanks.
So Cassie was one, and her 30-day challenge was one that encouraged me to start coloring, because I was pretty much a paper crafter turned stamper, and then I was very hesitant to go dive into the, you know, supposedly messier media because I don't know how to control water.
You were just like a stamper, ink stamper.
Yeah. I only
Which there's nothing wrong with that, but you did have a core love for coloring.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very fun and soothing.
You got that right. So we're going to move on to another petal, and I'm going to skip the ones right next to it so the water doesn't bleed into those areas. So I'm doing the same thing on this petal. I'm doing kind of like an L shape, C shape to start my line of color. Oh, and I do want to show you that you could just pick up the color from the palette and add that. I'll show you that too. So you don't get that intense line of color when you do it that way. So I'm just making sure my brush goes to all those areas, and you can see that color moving. So I want to get some of that color off my brush so I can reserve or preserve this sweet spot here. You always
I need to go back and watch your video because I missed the part when you talk about the sweet spot. Is that where the dark and the light color meets?
I call this the lighter area the sweet spot because you always want a sweet spot on.
Or you'll be very flat, right?
I just think it just makes it more interesting.
Okay.
Just more interesting.
Mm-hmm. So you want to keep your sweet spot and not make it completely the same color as the other one you have. Yeah. On the other edge.
So because I brought purple in, I need to do that here. Mm-hmm. Now sometimes one of my coloring tips is to enjoy the process, because this is a gorgeous stamp, and right now I feel like it's not looking like fabulous. And time is what makes things look really great. And so what I like to do is to go over something with a colored pencil after, because you're saving time, you're saving layers of color, and it looks like you spent more time than you actually did. So, now...
But, you know, I just saw this one dried, and I like it a lot better than it was still drying.
Oh.
Now, it smoothed out a little, kind of blended together.
That's a good point. So, the thing about this, like, for me, there's really not a dark area and a light area, though.
Okay.
That color
so
kept
you need more
spreading.
Contrast. Yeah.
Yes. So then I'll just, either I could go, and it's called glazing when you add one more watercolor,
mm-hmm.
or I could just do it with colored pencil. Mm. So while I'm doing this next petal, do you want to talk about this craft mat? I'm sure everyone already has it, knows about it, but
we don't have to sew. You can just color.
No, but I love this mat. And I know some people want to keep it pristine white all the time. Like, I'm not that kind of person. Like, I think it's fun if your palette's all messy and creative looking. Like, you know, your paint palette. Like, this is a newer palette. So, my other one is Nina's stamp I used. But this one, I didn't have my stamp with me. So this is a newer palette, so it's not all messy, but it looks so cool when it's all messy. And so when my thing at home, my water mat, what is it called?
Water media mat.
Water media mat. Mine has stuff all over it and a little bit of stains, and I like that.
You can send me a photo and I'll put it in the video.
Okay.
Yeah.
But some people don't like that, so do they use, I've heard you can use toothpaste to clean it.
So for this mat, you can basically, anything you clean your kitchenware with non-abrasive.
Okay.
Non-abrasive things, but the toothpaste is abrasive.
Oh.
So I would say so far we found the stamp cleaner will clean most of the colors out.
So it's just like a faded
yes,
thing.
so but you cannot have oil-based cleaner because oil-based cleaner they will add a coating to your mat and you will lose the stickiness that already have there. So
and that's the nice thing that it holds your paper in place or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think if you want it pristine white, don't buy it. I mean, that's my honest.
Okay.
I just think it would.
Well, we'll get two.
I just
one for your messy crafting, another for the camera.
Yes. Well, I know Jennifer McGuire put this in like her top 10 tool list because it's that fabulous. But
well, I love color blending on them, and so far Distress inks, only the black one stains, and Distress oxides I don't see any Distress oxide stain. So those ones I blend a lot on, and I don't see anything staining from those two lines. So.
Okay. So now I wanted to show that rather than putting that line of color on my petal, I'm just picking up the color from the palette and it gives you a softer look. And then I'm taking that color off my brush and I'm just gonna keep that sweet spot on my petal. Now here it hasn't spread, so the lighter area. And then I'm just, what really looks great is like even black or brown, just to add just right where I added this purple.
I have a brown.
Oh, you do?
Darker brown.
Oh, let's see if she's right. Okay, so I'm going to put this on the palette and we're going to bump back up to this one and pick up some of that color and just add it again, kind of like that L shape, but smaller because it's really dark. And then take the color off. Now I'm going to start all the way on the edge here. I want to make, so you don't get that water line, make sure my brush touches those lines. And
this is called glazing, right?
Yes.
Or just put on another layer of watercolor.
Yes. So now I'm bumping up into that color, removing a little bit of the color, making sure I touch this other side of the line. And I'm going to rinse that off and you can see I just want it a little bit more. I'm not used to this paper, so it's just kind of pulling, it seems to be pulling the color a little bit differently.
Yeah, it takes a little time to get used to it.
Yeah, so you can see what just adding that little bit of intense color, how it makes such a difference.
It kind of drawn to the edges where.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to? Okay, sorry. So this is the new paper and to Kathy, and it's just not reacting as usual.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe we'll just play. I don't know. You know, when you're used to like having your face go over the color.
Yeah.
It's a little different. Okay, so let's just see.
Okay, you don't have to talk all the time. We can speed up this part.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe I'll just watercolor this without talking.
Okay.
And then we'll see how it looks.
ages later we're back. So it's probably the paper that Kathy is now happy with her result, but I think it's beautiful. But she's gonna show us her tips on how to add more details with colored pencils to your watercolored piece.
A lot of people ask what colored pencils I use. I use a lot. The most important thing is a sharp tip. I'm gonna get, let's see, a green, a black, a navy purple, and I guess a blue. So, and then I need to grab my sharpener. So it takes a long time to color and to make it look really good. Well, I mean, I don't know, never mind. It just depends. This is a big image, and if you want it to look right, it takes a long time. And you save images coloring like this for those really special people. I have a saying, it's called, you have to consider the trash factor. And that's just basically considering who you give your card to. Like this, you're not gonna give to someone really, really special if you're gonna spend hours on it. You might just ink it up and make it look like a more abstract kind of watercoloring or something with splashes and just a simple watercoloring.
No, I think it's beautiful.
Well, but this image, there's so many possibilities, so.
I really like how you have the colors. Even though you only have a handful of markers, you're able to have I think it's very rich.
Thank you.
Rich color combo right there, so.
You
gonna zoom in on this one?
Yeah.
Can I move it over here?
Yeah. Okay. So I want to show you how, what's very important is lines and how the lines look and that they look sharp. So, I always like to say, first to take it, this is going to be die cut. So before you sharpen a pencil, do some lines on the side. It looks sharp, then sharpen it, and you'll see a difference in your line. See how that's much finer? So that's how you want to start, is with a fine tip, and then I sharpen it throughout. So I'm going to start here and carry my line here, and this isn't dark enough, and I just sharpen this end. So the concentration of the color is just at the top, and then I'm going to bring it down just a little bit. And then I'm going to move on to the next one. I think I'm going to draw a line down the middle too. Is this translating on camera? So I'm focusing the color up here, and then I'm just going to ever so slightly bring the color down a little bit. And then I'm going to sharpen those lines up with the pencil. And I do this all the time.
It's beautiful. So you have to keep your pencil sharp at all times when you do this.
Yes, you have to keep sharpening it. And it's a little bit of a pain, and then, you know, you're using your pencils a lot more, but the result is so much better. So can you guys see that I'm just, what the sharp pencil does, how it's enhancing this without bringing a third color in. Do you see it, Nina? Can you tell?
I can tell very good difference. And very big difference.
Sometimes I'll do green, sometimes I'll do brown.
It kind of adds all the depths and makes the leaves just pop.
Yeah, and it just depends on what, don't worry about what color, just grab, kind of let your intuitive mind pick a color. And like these up here, I use some blue with the green and then some brown, and I'll use a different color on that. But the biggest thing is just the lines sharpening those lines up, because sometimes when you're watercoloring it gets a little hazy. And I like to draw like a point at the end, and that has to be really sharp. Can you see that little point?
Yes, yes.
And that adds a lot too. Sometimes I'll do that with a Sharpie. Just that little point.
Yes,
and
yes.
It's, you know, in nature there's those little points.
Can I raise it up?
Yeah.
So people can see the
little points, like, whoops.
Oh, right here.
Yeah, you're better at that.
I see it.
Yeah.
Right here.
Now you can do it with a green or a 0.03 fine tip marker, but you got to make sure that tip is sharp.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to go back and work on this and then send you pictures, because this is not finished for me.
Okay, I think it's beautiful.
Okay, but you get the gist of like how the pencil makes a big difference.
Yes.
So.
Okay, this is how you finish your pieces usually.
Always. Always with something, always with the line. And gonna finish this, and then here actually all these other leaves I just did a wash of color because I'll go back with pencil. Let me just do this right here, and then I know that everyone needs to go. So is this in the right?
Okay. Up a little. Yeah, that's good.
So you could either go back and glaze this with some watercolor, or you can just pick up a pencil and add your extra color that way. So it depends on what you have time for, if you feel like messing around with water. But you always want to have a light hand with pencils so that you can build up your color. If you push hard, you're burnishing it, and then you can't add color. But see, I'm going over the line. You want to cover whatever color ink there is. And then I'm considering this one section, and then I color the top part of that section, and then I'll do the top part of this section and the top part of this section. So it's not where should the light be, I just color the top part of each section. Section. So this isn't dark enough, so I want to add a darker color, and I know a lot of you are probably afraid to use black, so let me just show you real quick what a little black can do. So now with the dark color you just want to use a little less, and I'm just focusing where it hits up against the petal there and drawing a little bit down. But can you see what just that little bit of black did? I'll do a little bit here. Now at home, I'll do a little more than this, but because my paper's far away from my face, my eyes aren't that good, I need it a little closer. So.
Okay, you can do it and then just show us the results.
But so you can see what that little bit of black does. Up.
Just more. Yes.
The black. And that's in 2 seconds. Now I would spend like 30 seconds on that. But it just gives you an idea of what the pencil accents do.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Awesome.
So I'll finish this at home and then send you photos. So
okay.
Thanks.
We'll put the photos up right now.
Yeah.
Photo editing. Thanks, Kathy, so much for showing us your coloring techniques. Thank you for coming to our office. Thank you for hanging out with me.
Oh,
we love you.
You're the best. Thank you guys for watching.
Bye.
Bye. See ya.